Among all the recent updates, one that really stands out is the Identity 5 and Palace Museum Classic crossover. It brings new skins for Wu Chang, Margie Zell, Edgar Valden, Qi Shi, and Kurt Frank, each designed with traditional Chinese culture in mind. The thing is, a lot of players are asking the same question: what even is this crossover? When I first heard about it, my brain immediately went, okay, what anime is this from? Did I miss a manga? Or some spin-off game? But no, it's nothing like that. The Palace Museum isn't an anime, a manga, or a game at all. It's actually a very real place in Beijing, China. And that opens up even more questions. What exactly is the Palace Museum? Why is Identity 5 teaming up with it? What's included in the event? Which characters are getting new looks? When does it start? And the big one, how do we get the skins? Can we use fragments, or is it echoes only? Well, that's what today's video would be, the Palace Museum crossover. Let's start this crossover explanation by talking about the star of the event itself, the Palace Museum. The Palace Museum, also known as the Forbidden City, is one of the most famous cultural landmarks in Beijing, China. In fact, it was named a World Heritage Site back in 1987. It holds deep cultural and historical importance because this was once the very place where Chinese emperors lived, back when dynasties still ruled, long before the country became the republic we know today. The name Forbidden City comes from the fact that ordinary people weren't allowed inside. Only the emperor, his family, and his court could enter and move freely within its walls. The first thing you notice about the Forbidden City is its sheer size. It's not just a building, it's basically a city of its own. The complex covers around 720,000 square meters, with nearly 9,000 rooms, surrounded by tall walls and a massive moat. The design itself wasn't random either. Everything followed strict rules of symmetry and symbolism. For example, yellow was the emperor's color, so most of the roof tiles were glazed in yellow. Even the decorations carried meaning. Dragons symbolized power, phoenixes represented grace, and mythical beasts were placed to ward off evil. For the emperors, the Forbidden City wasn't just their house. It was also their office, their court, and their stage to display imperial power. The outer courtyards were used for grand ceremonies, while the inner courts were private spaces for the royal family. Inside the walls, you'd also find gardens, libraries, and temples. Everything about life in the Forbidden City was built to send one message: the emperor sat at the center of everything. But times changed. The dynasties came to an end in the early 20th century, starting with the abdication of the last emperor, Puyi, of the Qing dynasty in 1912. Even after that, the inner palace was still used as his residence, while the outer palace was turned into a museum. That ended in 1924, when Puyi was evicted after a coup. The following year, the Palace Museum was officially established inside the Forbidden City. Today, the Palace Museum is special not just for its stunning architecture, but also for what's stored inside. Over the years, it has collected nearly 2 million artifacts, from ceramics, paintings, and calligraphy to jade, timepieces, sculptures, and textiles. Together, they preserve centuries of Chinese history and art. And maybe this is where the crossover makes sense. In my eyes, part of the reason Identity 5 teamed up with the Palace Museum was to introduce this cultural treasure to a wider audience, especially to players around the world who might not know much about it. Though, is there any other reasons behind it? Some of you might have noticed that over time, Identity 5 has done a lot of crossovers, and not all of them are with pop culture like anime, manga, or other games. Quite a few are actually tied to Chinese places and culture. For example, we had the China Aerospace crossover, inspired by the China Aerospace and Technology Corporation. Then there was the Hangzhou-Westlake crossover, which highlighted Westlake, a famous tourist attraction in China. And just last year, we got the China Academy of Art crossover, where Identity 5 worked with the China Academy of Art to release some stunning skins for Wu Cheng and Qi Shi. These cultural crossovers usually come with in-game events that give players a taste of the place or theme they're based on. Like during the Hangzhou-Westlake crossover, the event included content that introduced players to the history and significance of Westlake itself. That's why, in my view, the purpose of these crossovers isn't just about giving us new skins, it's also about using Identity 5 as a way to introduce Chinese places and culture to players all over the world. Since these kinds of cultural crossovers have been happening every year since 2023, it's safe to say we can probably expect more in the future. This year, it's the Palace Museum, so who knows? Maybe one day we'll see Identity 5 collaborating with another famous Chinese landmark too. But that brings us to a more interesting question. How does a crossover like this even fit into Identity 5? After all, the game is known for its Gothic Victorian-era aesthetic. So what's the symbolic link between that dark Western style and traditional Chinese heritage? So far, Identity 5 has answered that by giving certain characters outfits that match the crossover theme. For example, in 2023, Emma Woods got a skin where she wears a traditional Chinese cheongsam. We all know Emma isn't from China, but for the sake of the event, she was reimagined as a stunning young lady in Chinese dress. In 2024's crossover with the China Academy of Art, both Antiquarian and Wu Cheng were dressed in designs that reflected the artistic theme of the collaboration. And now, for 2025, we arrive at the Palace Museum crossover. So, which characters got chosen to represent it? And how are they styled to fit this historic theme? Several characters are getting new skins reworked to fit the theme. Those characters are Margie Zell, Wu Cheng, Edgar Valden, Qi Shi, and Kurt Frank. Let's start with Margie, who's getting a skin called Loomsong Awakening. The female dancer now wears a white silk dress decorated with golden embroidery along the sides and chest. What's unique here is that the chest piece actually resembles a clock, and it's not just for style. According to information from Weibo, later translated on the wiki, this detail is inspired by the gilt bronze clock with a country scene and water automaton currently on display at the Palace Museum. This clock dates back to the reign of the Qianlong Emperor during the Qing dynasty, and it was originally a tribute from Britain to the emperor. Her outfit goes further with flowing sheer sleeves and a high slit. Golden ornaments decorate her waist, shoulders, and shoes, making the whole costume sparkle. Her usual brown hair has been transformed into soft, curled blonde locks, adorned with golden accessories, giving her a delicate, almost royal look. Next, we have Wu Cheng with the skin Verdant Dreams Unfurled. This one is inspired by a masterpiece of Chinese art, the painting 1,000 Li of Rivers and Mountains. It's not just any painting, it's the only surviving work of Wang Zimeng, a painter from the Song dynasty, created in the early 12th century. That makes the painting nearly 1,000 years old, and it's famous worldwide. In the crossover, the Black Guard wears a deep blue robe with flowing sleeves, decorated with lighter, cloud-like patterns. The White Guard, on the other hand, wears a cream-colored robe with golden embroidery, carrying a calligraphy brush. Both robes are patterned with glowing, wave-like designs, matching the theme and its inspiration. Then there's Edgar Valden, with a skin called Sealed Chronicle. His look is styled after a scholar's robe, in shades of green, with patterned sleeves and shoulders. His hair is tied back into a short teal braid, topped with a small hat, and he's adorned with jade accessories that add to his scholarly aesthetic. The design is inspired by the Jade Dragon Seal, an imperial artifact carved from precious jade, featuring a dragon finial. The seal represented the Emperor's authority and the mandate of heaven. And yes, the real piece is still on display at the Palace Museum. As for Antiquarian and Explorer, details are still unclear. Since their skins are B tier, it's likely they're just glow-ups of their default outfits rather than being tied to a specific artifact or painting. Here's a look at them for reference. And it doesn't stop at skins. Along with the costumes, there are also matching accessories. Margie's comes with the Key to Liberation, while Wu Chang's has the Endless Crossing. Both accessories tie directly into their crossover looks. According to info shared on Reddit, all of this Palace Museum crossover content will officially drop on September 25 and will run until October 22. During the event, players can take part in several mini-events to unlock 3 of the 5 crossover skins completely free. Yep, that's right, 3 free skins. The free ones are the B-tier Antiquarian, the B-tier Explorer, and the A-tier Painter. So if you main any of these characters, congrats. Don't miss this chance. Here's how it works. Players can earn tokens by playing matches or joining the storyline event. These tokens can then be exchanged for rewards like portraits, stickers, furniture, emotes, with the ultimate reward being the A-tier Painter skin. On top of that, if you join the Antiquarians and Explorers' own respective events, you'll unlock their B-tier skins as well. Now, if you're aiming for the big prize, the S-tier skins for Margie Zell and Wu Chang, well, those won't be free. They'll only be available in the shop for a limited time, purchasable with echoes. The skins are priced at 2,888 echoes each, while their matching accessories go for 1,888 echoes. The good news is, if you buy the skin and accessory bundle, you'll get a 31% discount, bringing the price down to 3,268 echoes instead of 4,766. Definitely a better deal if you're planning to grab both. There will also be a public map event where players can exchange items in the public map shop for exclusive furniture. And that's not all. There's even a crossover pre-registration bonus, letting you swap 10 echoes for 10 inspirations, plus grab a handy discount coupon. Finally, the event also comes with a special web event launch. By checking in daily and completing a few simple tasks, players can unlock even more freebies, including 1 portrait and 1 portrait frame. Aside from the freebies, what really makes this crossover stand out is how it doubles as a cultural lesson. If you've watched this far, you probably now have a better idea about the Palace Museum. Normally, when we think of crossovers in Identity V, our minds go straight to anime, manga, or other games. But this event shows us that it can be so much more than that. It's a pretty unique way to combine gaming, history, and art into one experience. Personally, I find that really exciting. I love learning about culture while still having fun in game, so this Palace Museum crossover feels like the best of both worlds. But that's me. What about you? Would you like to see more cultural crossovers in Identity V? And which of the new skins is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Silmina, signing off.